because the moment you mentioned that amount, we're in Ghana. Very soon you have
it is extensive.
They'll start calculating. Now that McMill has said, okay, I charge you 50,000. Now they'll go and take all the features he's done and calculate the amount of money he has.
Yes. We'll do that.
So yeah, anyway, but thanks a lot for updating us, Michelle.
Yes,
and do have a beautiful day. Well, later this evening, I'll spend time with the founder and managing director of Blue Rose Limited. Yeah, Mr. Eric Ebo-Akwa. He's also the vice president of the Ghana Real Estate Developers Association, Greater, and he's going to join me on Personality Profile here on Joy 99.7 FM. I hand you over to Evan Spencer, who's coming up with Top Story.
Decision. This is my decision. I don't think you listen. You listen. I don't think you listen. For me to come out, it must mean I'm not the job. It must mean I'm not the same. It must mean I'm on your case. For me to come out, it means that I'm not the job. I want to show you my world.
Tonight, Office of Special Prosecutor vows to reopen case against former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah. If fresh evidence emerges on the day he abandoned his 11-month probe into the $1 million stashed cash scandal.
If the office becomes aware, in respect of our collaborative work from now on, of some other factor which requires us to come in fully, the office will do so.
We have the latest as the OSP reviews how some of the seized cash found in the former Sanitation Minister's house had been transferred from the United States.
From October 2023, investigation became cross-border and transboundary upon the claim by the persons of interest that part of the seized cash sums was transported to Ghana from the United States.
The Economic and Organized Crimes Office has taken over the case tonight with all cash and other items seized from the home of the former Sanitation Minister now returned.
This is Top Story with Evan Spencer.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. The Office of the Special Prosecutor may have abandoned its 11-month probe into the $1 million stashed cash scandal involving former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah. But tonight, the SP has declared he will reopen the case if fresh evidence emerges. We have more on Top Story for you about this particular developing story. But first, let me take you into the election headquarters where some news developing in the last few minutes. Mike placed the Minister of State responsible for local government, Obiamwa, in a fix. And this is your election headquarters. It's always brought to you by Petrosol. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. With less than 48 hours to go now for the crucial MPP parliamentary primary, the party has just taken the decision to suspend polls in the Accra South constituency. There's a statement out tonight. My colleague Kojo Brace joins me with that. Kojo.
Now, the party says the leadership of the MPP has resolved to postpone the Accra South parliamentary primary initially scheduled for Saturday, January 27, 2024. This decision is in response to petitions received, accompanied by recommendations from both the Constituency Executive Committee and the Regional Executive Committee. The postponement, they say, aims to ensure comprehensive consultations and to address raised concerns. Now they're asking that they rely on the unflinching commitment and cooperation of all who are involved in this. So that's what the party is communicating today.
And that is a very important point to note. As you're learning tonight, there is tension in the Accra South constituency. And we know the background to this. The background to this is that the Minister of State to the local government ministry, Obi Amwa, 2 days ago, pulled out from the race because he had been in the race. They had balloted. Positions had been taken, and then he pulled out. Then we begin to learn that apparently this was part of a strategy to disqualify
the MC,
which is
the constitution of the party says that where there is a certain MP, the MC would have to resign 2 years prior to be eligible to contest for this. Now, once the MC had not resigned 2 years prior, it means that he couldn't have. So if the MP has now finally withdrawn, then the MC is also making a claim that if he has withdrawn, then put me on the ballot. I think that is why all of this is coming up. And this letter is signed by the General Secretary himself, Justin Korea Frimpong.
And we'll get to hear from the party in the region pretty shortly, because apparently this was going to disintegrate the party in the particular constituency if indeed the polls had gone ahead on Saturday. And so they advised the party to look at that and consider a petition that had been filed, by the way, by the MCE on the matter subsequent to the decision by Obi Amwa to withdraw. Obi Amwa spoke to us 2 days ago about this, about the reason why he decided to take this step, very unusual step, to withdraw from the race at this very last minute.
The issue of putting politics doesn't come in at all, except that I'm not standing against that as well. It's for the people to judge whether I'll be missed. I cannot stand here and say that I'll be missed. Of course, by the grace of God, this is my 4th term in Parliament, and I've gathered experience along the line. I've also served in the executive. That is the kind of experience that the party can always use at any time. So that is how it is. As to whether I'll be missed, I don't know how I'm going to be missed, because I'm still actively involved in whatever goes on. Personal interest and personal interest, period.
So that there is Obi Amwa, who pulled out of the race just a couple of days ago now, just 48 hours on. The party has taken a decision to suspend the poll altogether because of the tensions that we understand is flying pretty high there tonight. Just before we came on air, we managed to get a word from the Eastern Regional Secretary of the MPP, Tony Osei, who painted a picture that they painted to the party, by the way, the National Party, about the internal feud that has erupted over the decision by Obi Amwa to pull out.
The MC filed a conditional nomination, bearing in mind that at any point in time he has heard that the MP will not run, but for one reason or the other he has picked a nomination form to run. So at any point in time when the MP decides to withdraw from the race, he should be considered. So when the MP withdrawal letter came, he wrote another petition asking for the pre-filing petition that he wrote. So the national leadership needs to take a decision. So the Constituency Executive Committee, led by the chairman, wrote a letter signed by the chairman and the secretary that, looking at the atmosphere in the constituency, in their wisdom, they think the election should be put on hold. But they cannot take decision themselves. So they have to forward the letter to the regional secretariat. So when we got the letter, we also cannot take decision on our own. So we have to write another letter attached to the petition that we have received from them. So when the letter came, the regional leadership also write a letter backing their claim that in our opinion, we think they are in the constituency. So whatever they are telling us, one way or the other might be the sentiment on the grounds. So we think it is better the national leadership take a decision based on that. So when the letter came, we are not surprised.
This is what we know. Obi Amwa, who is a Minister of State responsible for local government, picked up nomination forms, and that surprised many because he picked up the nomination forms with his personal aide, Eric Yeboah Apiedu, and many knew that they were close. Mr. Apiedu is his personal aide, and so questions were raised. Now, we learn later from individuals in the community that the rules of the party governing the process, the elections, as far as the parliamentary primary is concerned, was very clear. That sitting members of parliament cannot be contested by MCEs, MMDCEs generally. So if you are an MCE or a DCE, you would have to resign your position 2 years prior to the poll. And in this particular case, in the Accra South constituency, the MCE in that particular area was interested in running, but did not resign 2 years prior. And therefore, if the sitting member of parliament picked up the nomination forms, he automatically was disqualified, which is what happened in this particular case. He could not run once Obi Amwa had picked up the forms to contest. But of course, he was out of the race. He knew that until Obi Amwa pulled out. And many in the constituency say it was a strategy all along to disqualify the MCE in the case, which obviously was about to actually materialize, because if Saturday had happened, he could not have been on the ballot because of the situation, which forced him to send in a petition to the party. And the party has now taken a decision to put that on hold because allegation is that it is abuse of the process, abuse of the rules governing the process, particularly in the Accra South constituency. I want to bring in my colleague, Kofi Sian, regional correspondent, who's been following this for us very closely. Kofi, from what we've just heard there, this has been one thorny issue in the Accra South constituency.
Yes, Evans, it's been an interesting development there in the constituency. You know, this issue has been making the rounds in the area for some time now, because the MC, who was a very close friend to the MP, said the MP assured him he was not going to run again. But surprisingly, the front broke, and Obi decided that, okay, so I'm not going again. So I'm this time allowing my aide to run for that position. So the MC also decided that, okay, I'm also going to run. But once the party has said that all MMDCs cannot contest sitting MPs, so he decided to follow that rule. But later on, the MC told the media that the MP has decided not to go again, but in one way or the other, he's blocking him from also contesting. So he decided to file a conditional petition and a nomination with the regional headquarters. So when the vetting process was underway in the region, the MC appeared, but he was turned away because they told him the MP was contesting. So, Evans, it's an interesting development in the area, and I believe that now that the party has decided to suspend the elections in the area, the followers of the MC are very happy, and I'm sure from tomorrow we're going to hear from the supporters of the MC in the constituency.
Kofi, thank you very much there. And I want to bring in right now the Director of Elections for the MPP, a recommendation to the party to reconsider the decision to go ahead without the MCE, considering that he's also sent in a petition.
Yeah, good evening, Evans. Good evening to your listeners. Prior to the vetting, you know, per the guidelines that we came out with concerning the parliamentary elections, in the constituency that we have the sitting member of parliament running, the DC or the MC cannot run. But the DC preempts his filing with a petition that he has said that the MP might not run. But he was surprised to see the MP picks the nomination forms. So he is writing a petition to the vetting committee, appealing that he knows he doesn't qualify because the MP is running. But at each point in time, if the MP decided to step out of the race, he should be considered. So when the MP withdrew from the race, he wrote another petition to the constituency and petitioned the region as well. So we told him we cannot take a decision on our own because the party has leadership at the national level. We are caretakers of the constituency, and we report to the national party. So they brought their petition. Looking at the atmosphere in the constituency, the chairman and the secretary signed a letter, a recommendation that they think in their wisdom the elections should be put on hold.
And this is a position that you support?
As a regional party, we also support that position. So we wrote a recommendation and attached their recommendation letter to it, and that of the petition that MCE brought, and sent it to the national party for a decision to be made on it.
I mean,
so
but
the national party took a decision.
Yes, they have, and which is what we've talked about. But the rules are the rules. The rules say MCEs cannot contest sitting MPs in constituencies. Well, of course, you have sitting MPs.
Yes, please.
So Obiamwa changes his mind. 4 days to the elections. Why should you put it on hold? Because somebody wants to contest.
The principal actor is no more there. In the case of Honorable Dambotre is not running, so the DCE picked nomination to run. So if the MP who is the main actor and cannot and is running because the MC cannot run, is no more there, I think it would be fair for us to look at the laws again. Apply.
Oh goodness, but we have a terrible connection to him now, and we'll try and see if we can fix that. But I have with me Evans Nemako, who is the Director of Elections for the party. Mr. Nemako, you're in charge of the elections. You have Saturday. This has now, from what we read, been postponed. Should we take it then that Accra South will not vote on Saturday?
Thank you, my brother, for having me. I've heard you, and I've also heard the regional secretary of the party in Eastern Region. I'm happy that the general secretary has informed the party and the public at large that the party has put on hold the conduct of the constituency annual delegate conference arranged to have been held on Saturday, 27th. I mean, this tells you that the party is ready to broaden its consultation to ensure that as much as possible, all stakeholders are engaged in this whole exercise. That notwithstanding, the new Patriotic Party is ready to go ahead with the elections in the remaining constituency that we've slated for this exercise. We've had extensive conversation with the Ghana Police Service and the Electoral Commission. We've printed ballot papers. The EC has taken pictures of them. As we speak, almost all the ballot papers are on their way out of the EC headquarters to the various regions and then later to be transported to the state offices for the Saturday exercise. We are set. The General Secretary has issued out the protocols for Saturday's exercise. It is also interesting that since Honorable Piamwa issued his letter of withdrawal, it's become very topical, and I must tell you the role he has played in Parliament, continue to play government as well as in the party.
Yeah,
but at this point, I appreciate the concerns coming from the constituency party and the regional party. I think at the appropriate time, the national leadership will give direction on the way forward.
Okay, thank you very much, Evans Nemako. That he is in charge of the election, so we cannot expect elections on Saturday in that particular constituency, the Accra South constituency. If you're in that constituency and you're a delegate, I want to hear from you. Even if you're not, send me a WhatsApp 055-1111-997. This is your election headquarters. We have special coverage of the MPP parliamentary primary for you this Saturday beginning from 7 a.m. across all our networks on the Joy News channel, on Joy 99.7 FM, on myjoyonline.com, and across our many social media platforms. Your election headquarters is always brought to you by Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity. And to our top story today, the Office of the Special Prosecutor today announced he has abandoned its 11-month probe into the $1 million stashed cash scandal involving former Sanitation Minister Cecilia Dapaah. But tonight, the SP himself, Cecilia Dapaah, has declared he will reopen the case if fresh evidence emerges. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, will now take the lead in investigating the matter. The special prosecutor disclosed today that large sums of dollars found in the former minister's house had been transferred from the United States, raising money laundering questions. Listen to the special prosecutor detailing the extent of his probe.
Was conducted in country involving 20 persons and 3 state institutions, and especially in the Ashanti region, to establish the financial standing of Ms. Dapaah's deceased brother during his lifetime and at the time of his death, since it was alleged that a substantial portion of the cash sums belonged to Ms. Dapaah's deceased brother. From October 2023, investigation became cross-border and transboundary upon the claim by the persons of interest that part of the seized cash sums was transported to Ghana from the United States. For that reason, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, of the United States became involved in a collaborative investigative work with the office on the matter. Investigation has been aimed at determining the sources of the large cash sums associated with Ms. Dapaah and Mr. Osei Kufuor. The office has had the benefit of 7 months of in-country and 4 months of collaborative transboundary investigation.
Well, he mounted a strong defense of the work done so far by his office.
Members of the press, on the totality of the gathered evidence and intelligence, it seems to us that the case is largely in the province of suspected money laundering and structuring. By operation of law, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, has a specific and direct mandate in respect of suspected cases of money laundering and its attendant activity of structuring. Of the prosecution is referring the case to EOCO for continued investigation and further action. The office will be in close collaboration with EOCO and continued collaboration with the FBI. It is the extensive investigation of the Office of the Special Prosecutor with the collaborative work of the FBI that has led us to this conclusion. If the Office of the Special Prosecutor had a direct mandate by law in respect of suspected money laundering and structuring, there will be no such referral. But we operate within the confines of the law. And since the law that created the OSP did not necessarily grant such a direct mandate in respect of suspected money laundering, but the law that created the Economic and Organized Crime Office states specifically that they have a mandate in respect of suspected money laundering. Now, after 7 months of investigation, we have a body of evidence. So if we have come to the conclusion that it suggests, it seems to us that it is more in relation to suspected money laundering, then the proper thing to do is to refer it to the state institution, which by law has a direct mandate as stated in the Act. The Office of the Special Prosecutor does not clear persons. One, we are not a court of law, so we do not clear persons that we do not find that the person has committed anything or otherwise. So we are clearing the person. All the reports in respect of which you see that we are ending the investigation, it means that we have not found what the law will require of us if we were to carry it on further in respect of the standard of proof. So if we investigate a person and the evidence is such that it will seem to us that we will not be able to secure a conviction, there's no point wasting the time of the court and state resources chasing after. It will just be persecution and not prosecution. So we never clear anyone We only conclude on what we have found, and then we go on with further action if need be. And we are always minded to end that if we become aware of something else, some fresh evidence or some fresh fact, we will always revisit a matter. So on that point, if the office becomes aware in respect of our collaborative work from now on of some other factor which requires us to come in fully, the office will do so.
Well, joining me right now is Inusa Fuseni. He's a former ranking member on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee in Parliament. Mr. Fuseni, inevitable?
The Special Prosecutor's reasons for referring the case to Yoko is quite baffling. He says that the case appears to him to be within the realm of money laundering, and asks, what is the predicate offense? Because money laundering is an attempt to hide illicit or illegal proceeds from illegal activities. So what is that illegal activity for which the provenance of the facts of the case as uncovered through investigations by the Special Prosecutor reveal? How did Cecilia Dapaah come by such large sums of money? And so I think that the Special Prosecutor must also answer the question as to the predicate offense, because in money laundering there are predicate offenses. Number two, this appears to me again that the Special Prosecutor has vindicated those who have questioned the relevance of the Office of the Special Prosecutor. We have all along tried very hard to convince the public that the Special Prosecutor needs time to be able to get his act together. But what he has said this afternoon has sounded a deaf knell in our fight against corruption, and also put into question the relevance of his office.
I mean, Mr. Fuseni, the Special Prosecutor is operating under an Act of Parliament that you was very instrumental in passing, which says he can only investigate corruption and corruption-related offences. And so even if the foundational issue in money laundering may relate to other things, but not corruption-related activities, he cannot investigate.
So that's why I'm saying that the Special Prosecutor must answer the predicate offence. He says his investigations have uncovered that the province of the offence is in money laundering, and he has no jurisdiction. I agree. But what is the predicate offence? He has not told us the predicate offence that has been revealed by his investigations. He should tell us that one too. And secondly, we have gone back to square one. If we go and look at the 2016 manifesto of the MPP, the reason why the MPP advocated for the establishment of the Office of the Special Prosecutor was precisely because they thought that the Attorney General, being a member of cabinet, would not be able to prosecute its own. And so you needed somebody who would be insulated against political manipulation, who would not be a cabinet minister, who would not be under the control and direction of the Attorney General to be able to prosecute such offences like corruption. And so we created that office. He's referred the matter to Yoko, and Yoko's prosecutes through the Attorney General. So we have gone back full circle to what existed before the creation of that office.
But that only is because he hasn't found anything that triggers his mandate.
So what informed his decision to serve Cecilia Dapaah with the lifestyle audit forms?
Well, doesn't that actually back his case then? That presupposes he had gone into it and hadn't found anything that borders on corruption-related offense.
No, the prima facie, if you serve a public officer with a lifestyle audit forms, it means that you have come to the conclusion that the public officer is in possession of large cash of money, which money cannot be supported by the work, by her work or his work in public office. So that you need a prima facie case of the money being more far above the amount of money that you could earn legitimately in public office before you take a decision to serve a public officer with lifestyle audit forms.
Even when, after you fill the form, the evidence you provide disputes any claim that you may have acquired that wealth illegally or through corruption?
The Special Prosecutor is not even saying that the money has been acquired lawfully. He says that it is within the province of money laundering. Simply means that the money that has been found has been proceeds of crime, which the Cecilia Dapaah has been attempting to hide. That's what it means. And I'm asking, what crime? What crime?
So you've asked the question, but you started with a conclusion and a verdict that this is a final nail.
Yeah, it's a nail.
Before you even had the answer to the question you asked.
Yes, it's a nail. I'm convinced beyond doubt that it's a nail in the final coffin of our fight against corruption. It's a nail. Yesterday I was reading the Ghana Coalition, Ghana Anti-Corruption Coalition report, and clearly the report was interested in the outcome of the Cecilia Dapaah's case. And today, the report was released yesterday or the day before. The situation has changed dramatically.
Mr. Nusaf Hussaini, thank you very much. And that's Nusaf Hussaini there with his thoughts on this very controversial matter. Let me hear from you, 05511111997. The news night starts in a minute.
Breaking news. Vodafone Ghana is becoming Telecel. Stay tuned.
Hello, honey. Something has happened.
What? What has happened? Where are you?
The car, my brand new car.
What has it done?
The traffic light was on yellow. I stopped. Then there was a car behind me on top speed.
Oh, so it hit your back?
Yes, the back of my car. If only I had been a little faster.
You see, I told you to use lungu when you're driving in this country. When I talk, you don't listen.
You can't control what will happen, but you can control how you respond to what happens when it happens. At SIC Insurance, we are always ready to come to your aid when the unfortunate happens. Call us today on 0800 1000055 or 030-2823-100 for your motor, accidents, fire, burglary, travel insurance, and more. Or visit our website at www.sic-gh.com. SIC, our promises are sacred.
Dive into a new era of news consumption with myjoyonline.com, your go-to destination for cutting-edge journalism, giving you the most credible stories from business to politics and from sports to entertainment. Myjoyonline.com introduces an upgraded news website meticulously designed to empower you with an enriched browsing experience like never before. Intuitive navigation. Navigate through an array of revamped categories that cater to all interests. Join the conversation with our interactive comments section. Get live TV,
confidence of the football
radio, and podcast of your favorite TV and radio shows on Joy and Adom platforms. Powerful search. Find any story with ease with a simple click. Access precisely what you're looking for. Experience the future of news browsing with myjoyonline.com.
In the next 60 minutes here on Newsnight, Defense Minister Dominic Nativo was the instigator of my prosecution. That's ACP Agojo's latest accusation following his acquittal yesterday.
Having reconstructed the scene, I can tell you that it was Defense Minister, Mr. Nativo, who initiated this whole arrest process. He can take me anywhere he wants, and I'll prove to him.
He also had some strong words for the Attorney General.
Does he understand Arab Spring? If he doesn't, he should keep quiet. If he doesn't understand Arab Spring, he should keep quiet. He's a lawyer, but being a lawyer doesn't mean that you know everything.
Also tonight, Managing Director of ECG questions motive behind framing of the faulty law behind 15% value-added tax on electricity consumption, insisting it's practically impossible, in fact, a nightmare to attempt to implement it.
Then, whoever wrote that law we need to go back to that person to find out what was the mind behind you saying for somebody sitting in their home enjoying electricity, they should pay value-added tax.
The Trade Union Congress